Southern California, and welcome to this week's edition of Right on the Money. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley, and joining me in the studio is Tom Mosley. He is the founder and president of Mosley Wealth Management. Tom, my friend, it was so fun to have dinner with you last night outside of the studio and get to talk. But of course, I'm always excited to bring that conversation right back here and get to share it with our viewers as well.
Good fun, and we did not coordinate our outfits, but they coordinated.
Right?
So
We're on
great.
the same page. It's awesome. Well, you've put together another fabulous show for our viewers out there today. You know, it's been said that often when it comes to taxes, it's almost like folks are playing a game that they've never been given the rules to. And that never makes any game fun to play when you don't know the rules or when the rules are always changing. And that's often the case with taxes. So today's title of the show is Winning in Your Taxes, Winning the Tax Game in Retirement. And you know, Tom, it's been said too that it's not so much how much you have accumulated. You say this all the time. It's not the lump sum, it's your income. And obviously how much income you have is directly correlated to how much you're paying in taxes, and you want to be able to keep as much of your hard-earned money as possible. So I'm really excited to get into this discussion with you today.
What's the old joke about they've shortened the form to what did you make, okay? What did you spend? What do you have left? Send it in.
Right.
You know, so sometimes it seems like it's that way.
That's how it feels,
And you're so right and perceptive when you talk about Kristin. They're always changing the rules. Will Rogers, famous humorist, said that the difference in death and taxes is death doesn't change every time Congress meets.
Right.
But it seems like that now they have a problem. They have a $34 trillion debt that we've run up over a period of years. So, you know, we have to understand that there is a problem. But anymore, no politician is willing to go on television and say, I'm going to raise your taxes. But what they end up doing and the way it ends up changing the rules is they take away this exclusion, they take away this deduction, they take, for instance, medical. There was a time when you could deduct everything over 7% that you would spend on medical. They raised that to 10% of what your gross income is. And it impacted a lot more people who had to not be able to deduct their medical expenses, or some of them. Taxes. In California, your taxes, insurance, what you spend on the house can only be, it's capped at $10,000 now. And that might work in Yazoo, Mississippi, you know, but it does not work so much when you're having to afford a house in Southern California. So you're right. They're changing the rules. I've got a 6-year-old granddaughter, Colette, and when I like to play games with her, and sometimes you know how Poppy is, not that I want to win, but I like to tease her a lot. And so I'll be playing a game with her and I'll change the rules. Well, even at 6 years old, she's smart enough that if I change the rules, she's already picking up on it. And if I change the rules 2 or 3 times, she'll just throw the cards down if we're playing cards, or walk away from the board and say, Poppy, I'm not playing with you anymore because you keep changing the rules. Guess what? Our granddaughter can do that, but we cannot walk away from the IRS, whatever rules they have. They're your partner, and they're a controlling partner. Because whatever they change the rules to, we have to abide by.
Absolutely right. And most folks are entering retirement with 3 types of accounts. Typically, you have taxable accounts, tax-deferred accounts, and then a lot more folks these days are also having tax-free accounts. And it's so important, Tom, to make sure that a withdrawal strategy is put into place properly, because how you withdraw, which account you withdraw from when, how much to take out, that has huge tax implications for your overall financial plan. And I know that you are super committed to making sure that your clients have the most tax-efficient plan possible.
Well, if I get to vote, I'm voting for the tax-free.
Right? You and me both, yes.
But the problem is, and you know, in our business, we get, especially over the internet, we get inundated with information and surveys and things. So it's only as good as the person doing the survey. It's not really true. And in case you know, it's a news flash, whatever you see on the internet, it's got to be true because it's on the internet. That's not really true.
Right.
But I did read a survey that said that of all the money that's put away for retirement, 12% is in the taxable bucket. That's like in your money market in the bank, or your checking account that might draw interest. You get that little 1099. It's taxable every single year, your after-tax accounts. The second bucket is the biggest bucket. That's the tax-deferred bucket that you mentioned.
And that's where most Americans have the majority of their wealth.
Try 85%.
Yeah.
And if you add 12 and 85, then that tax-free that you and I both voted for only has 3% in there. So you need to go on a mission. You need to go, first of all, on a discovery mission to say, how much of my assets that I have put away for retirement, how much of that is in the tax-free bucket? Now, there may be none. When people come in and they respond to this program, you call in the number that Kristin gives you at the end of every segment, and you set up an appointment for a retirement blueprint. One of the major things we do is we go through a tax analysis on you. In every one of our conference rooms, we've got gigantic 4x8 boards on the wall where we can write in, and we have the money that's in the bank, the money that's safe and secure, the money that's at risk, and down on the bottom we have the money that's in taxable accounts, the money that's in tax deferred accounts, and what percentage is there, and how much is in tax free. And what we do when we're working with our clients is over a systematic, deliberate, not all at one time, but over a systematic, definitive, let me say the word right, definitive period of time. We harvest that money out as best we can with your information and with your agreement to it, but we pay the tax as we go along to move that money from the tax deferred, where you're always going to be taxed as long as there's money in there. Use the word forever. Your IRA, your 401k, all of those accounts are going to be taxed forever. We try to move it over into the tax-free account, and the one that we use more than anything else, there are some life insurance products that you can use if that fits for you and you need life insurance coverage, but the biggest thing we do is we get that into a Roth. Now, I didn't say moth and I didn't say cloth, I said Roth, R-O-T-H-I-R-A. And the money that's in the Roth IRA, unlike the money that's in a regular IRA that's forever taxed, the money that goes into the Roth IRA is never taxed again in your lifetime. You leave it to your spouse, it's never taxed in their lifetime. When you get to be 73 years of age, you do not have the dreaded required minimum distributions. At least right now, they've talked about putting those into Roths, but you do not have to take money out for required minimum distributions from Roth IRAs. And then when you leave it to your spouse, when the second spouse passes away, if you're married, if you're single, you leave it straight to your children. They don't have to pay tax on it. So forever tax to never tax, that's a big step. And to be tax-free is where you want your money to be.
And it's interesting, you and I have had this conversation before, but a lot of folks in the industry as a whole are not having this kind of conversation with their clients. Touch on why that is, because this is something that you are a champion for, because it's in the client's best interest to do it. Why is this not talked about more? My
blood pressure just went up about 15 or 20 points because they are not talking about it. And let me tell you very deliberately why. A broker only has to do what's suitable for you. You have to prove that the product they put you in is something's wrong with it. As a fiduciary, and all 6 of my advisors are licensed fiduciaries. We don't say, well, we want to act like a duck and quack like a duck, so maybe we'll become a duck. We are licensed fiduciaries, so we have to do what's in your best interest. Take a broker. A broker has $100,000 of your money that's never been taxed in the IRA. Leave it there, because they get to charge you a fee on what? $100,000.
The amount that they're managing.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
If you take $100,000 though, and let's just say you're in the 22%, and I'll stick to federal. Yes, we have state tax as well. But in the 22% tax bracket, if you do this tax harvesting, because over the long haul, it's advantageous to you, and you pay $22,000 in tax, that broker only gets to bill you on $78,000 from then going forward. That's not in his or her best interest. So therefore, even the big box firms have a policy. We don't do tax harvesting with our clients. And the reason is because they would make less money on their fees. We do tax harvesting because we're true fiduciaries. We're trying to make sure 2 things. I formed this company 28 years ago to make sure that people never run out of income the rest of their life, and they pay as little as they're legally required to pay in taxes. So that's why we harp on income, we harp on taxes, because those are the 2 major pillows along with your investments, but those are the major pillows of a sound retirement plan. That's why the big box firms may have never talked to you about it. Tax harvesting is foreign to them. No, it's not foreign. They know about it. They don't want to do do it because they make 22% less money.
Right, and their superiors are literally telling them you're not allowed to have these kinds of conversations. So
I am told that is exactly true.
Exactly right. Well, I'm excited for more folks to get to connect with you this week, especially after what you just heard. If you are interested in making sure that you have enough income that's going to last you for the rest of your life, and that you're going to only pay what's legally required you, the least amount of tax possible, Tom, what would you say to that person who's watching today?
I'd say you need to call in. You need to dial 866-709-1462. You need to get on one of our calendars of one of our 6 advisors, all fiduciaries. We don't just work with you on taxes. If that's all you want, we'll try our best to help you. But we work through a systematic retirement blueprint where we touch on income, inflation, investments, taxes, healthcare, and also legacy. And we'll build a written plan for you and give it to you for free. Then you decide if you want to work with us. We decide if we want to work with you at that point. But that's what you need to do. The number is 866-709-1462. We can't help you if you don't raise your hand and call us.
Thank you, Tom, so much. In addition to calling that number, you're also welcome to pull out your smartphone. You can simply open up that camera app, just point, click, and scan that QR code down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you over to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and then a member of the team from Mosley Wealth Management will reach out and connect with you to set up your complimentary appointment. More on today's discussion surrounding taxes and winning the tax game right after this.
I had been in the ministry and training for the ministry for about 25 years. It seemed every church I would go to, they would put me in charge of benevolence. And benevolence is when people come to the church and they need money. And they were trying to decide to buy food or buy medicine. And the medicine was some new medicine that was effective, so the drug companies might charge a tremendous amount. And we at the church couldn't afford to help them do that. It was difficult. So when I passed my license on June the 8th of 1995, I was sitting down with my 2 managers in downtown Pasadena, and these guys, they said, "Who do you want to work with?" And I said, well, what motivated me to get my license was I want to work with retirees. They said, why not doctors or lawyers? And I said from the very beginning, I want to work with people to make sure they never run out of money, because I had seen it.
Welcome back, Southern California. You're watching Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley. Today's discussion is all about winning the tax game, specifically how you can win the tax game with your retirement to be able to keep more of your hard-earned money. And before the break, Tom, we were talking about the difference between traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, and how you are so passionate about helping folks move money from the taxed always bucket, if you will, to the taxed never bucket. There's a lot of confusion out there about Roth IRAs, and I know a lot of folks wish they had known this information a lot sooner. So I'm excited for you to dive more deeply into what folks need to know and understand about them.
Well, a lot of people come in, Kristin, and they say, oh, I wish I'd have known about a Roth when I was 20 years old. Well, if they're 65 years old, there were no Roths, because Roths only came into existence in around 1997, 1998, and they really weren't very popular at the time because of the way the laws were. The laws at that time were, if you did have an IRA and you left it to your children, for instance, then they could, if they were 15, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, they could take that IRA spread, the distribution from it, spread out over their entire lifetime. So there's even a popular book written by a very notable gentleman, Ed Slott, that parlay your IRA into a family fortune. And he talks about how you can just leave your IRA and it can just give to your kids all through the years. And many people have done that, and it was working really, really well. The problem with the government was it was spreading out the tax that people were paying on that IRA over a lifetime of a child, and that may be 40 or 50 years. I have 2 of my stepchildren who inherited those when they were in their early teens, and one of them was a single digit, 9 years old.
Wow.
So they're going to be able to take out an inherited IRA, a beneficiary IRA, over their lifetime. Time out. The government changed all the rules.
Yes.
In December of 2019, they changed the rules and they said, no more of that. Now think about why. You always got to think about why the rules were changed.
And follow the money to figure out the why, right?
Follow the money. They said from now on, they said you can no longer take it out over your lifetime. You have to take all of that money out within 10 years. Well, sometimes we have people pass away in our business and they still have $800,000, $900,000, $1.2 million one time recently when someone passed away, and they left that to their highly successful child, one child. Well, that child now has to take out $1.2 million and pay the tax at their income tax rate over the next 10 years. It's all got to be drained out of that IRA. So I think it was funny when they did the news conference after they passed the Secure Act. The first guy up says, "We are not going to take any more tax from you. This doesn't cost you one penny." The next guy who stood up said, "This over a period of years, 10 years, is going to put $388 billion more into the Treasury." Time out. Where did that money come from? It came from taxes, and it's not going to cost you, but when you leave it to your children and they have to take that money out over 10 years, then they're going to have to pay potentially at a higher rate.
And a lot of times when folks are inheriting that kind of money, it's during their highest earning years, which automatically bumps them up into a much higher tax bracket. That's where the government's getting even more money, because now more tax is actually being paid.
Right, and it doesn't come out as capital gains, which most of it is an investment that is gained through the years. It comes out as added regular income. So it could really, really be a kicker. Well, here's the thing, you know, that Secure Act 1.0 came along. They tried to straighten it out 4 or 5 times, and every time they straighten it out, and now they've said, well, you can take it out over the whole 10 years. You don't have to take it out until at least the 10th year mark. And there's all kind of rules that are up in the air, and pretty much still up in the air. And even the IRS has come out and said it's so confusing, we're going to give people a 3-year window to straighten out how they do that Roth. But here's the bottom line. The bottom line, Kristin, is it made everybody stop and take a look at a Roth and say, what if I, over a period of time in my lifetime, particularly after somebody gets to retirement and say they're 62 or 63 years of age, and say you've got $1 million in an IRA, and let's take it, if you're single, you're going to leave that all to your kids, and they're going to have to pay at their rate.
Right.
If you're married, you're going to leave it to your spouse, and your spouse is then going to have to continue to take money out of that IRA, and they're going to have to continue to take it out, and they can take it out over their lifetime because they can roll it over into their own IRA. But the tax brackets go from married filing jointly till the second year after they file, when they file income tax after you're gone, they file as a single tax filer. So all of their rates get cut in half. It is a major hit. It's called the widow's penalty, and it comes along. So we work with our clients, and the biggest motivating factor, if you're single, I'm sorry, you're stuck. You know, I've got children that are that way. They're single, and they really can't make this choice because there's no choice to avoid that widow's penalty because they have nobody to pass it to. It just goes to your kids. But if you're married, it goes to your spouse first, then they may really have a huge tax burden. For instance, the 22% tax bracket for a married filing jointly starts at around $90,000. For a single person, it starts at around $45,000.
Right, so then you're in a higher tax bracket as a
They're
single
in a
filer.
higher tax bracket. So that's why the Roth idea and the Roth conversions, just recently everybody's got news, and again, it goes back to what I said about Colette, my granddaughter. They changed the rules on us, and we can't walk away from it. We've got to deal with it. That's one of the reasons you need to be working with a knowledgeable financial planner who stays up to date. Now, we don't prepare taxes, but I'll guarantee, you know, that's usually for the CPAs and the accountants. But we are tax planners giving our clients options as to how are you going to go about so that you potentially could pay the least amount of tax you can legally be required to pay. And tax harvesting, this moving from a regular IRA to a Roth, may be one thing you need to look at. But what if you're working with somebody like we talked about in the first segment who refuses to even introduce
And
that?
who is not allowed to even have that conversation with you.
It's exactly. What you don't know or what you haven't been told could hurt you. It could definitely hurt you. So you need to reach out for, if no other reason, get a second opinion. Let us look at your tax situation. Call in and ask for this. You say, I want to talk about a retirement blueprint, but I specifically want a tax report. We can show you how if you just pay it out according to the government's plan, how much tax you'll pay.
Right.
And we can also show you if you'll harvest it out over a set number of years, how much tax you'll pay. You'll be shocked at the difference, but you've got to call in.
Tom, thank you so much. No doubt the phone is going to ring after this important discussion. So again, that number to call to get your very own complimentary tax analysis is there on the bottom of your screen. Simply dial 866-709-1462. Again, you're also welcome to scan that QR code down in the bottom right-hand corner, and that will get you connected as well. When we come back, Tom's going to work through some of the myths that are out there about Roth IRAs so that you fully understand what it is you need to know about them. Stay with us.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to Right on the Money with Tom Mosley. I'm your host, Kristin Oakley. We are talking today about winning the tax game in retirement. And really, Tom, being able to win the game starts long before you get to retirement. And this is why you and the team of Mosley Wealth Management are so passionate about engaging in that strategic tax planning. It's important to kind of unpack some of the confusion surrounding these Roth IRA accounts, these taxed never accounts. There's a lot of myths out there, so let's dispel them for folks.
Well, the biggest one is people say, I wish I'd have started one. I can't start one now because I'm in retirement and I can't start a Roth IRA. You know, if we had the little buzzer, it would go, wrong, it would be the big X. You can start a Roth IRA at any time. I recently had a client that was working out of our Ontario office, 83 years of age, hasn't worked for like 21 years, and we started a Roth IRA. We started a Roth IRA because he realized at 83 even the value of Roth conversions, going ahead and paying the tax now so that you don't have to pay the tax later. By the way, I don't think we've mentioned this. If you do something in 2023, 2024, or 2025, the years leading up to that, you're going to get a tax break. People ask all the time, do you think taxes will be higher in the future? I can absolutely tell you they're going to be higher in the future, so there's a degree of urgency. All of the tax brackets, whether it's married filing jointly or those of you who are single out there, all of the tax brackets are going up 2 to 5% on January 1st of 2026. So you've still got 2 or 3 tax years left where you can work on these Roth conversions, but you have to start a Roth, and you can start a Roth. Now the confusion is people are right in that unless you have employment where you're earning income, you cannot, listen to the word, contribute to a Roth, okay? Because contributing means that I've earned up to
earned income.
Earned income.
Yep.
Up to $7,500 if you're over 50. If you're a young person like you, Kristin, it's only $6,500. But if you're over 50, you can put $7,500 a year of your earned income by contributing that into a Roth. You're right, you cannot contribute to a Roth if you don't have a job. But what you can do is you can convert into a Roth. Big difference. Convert means all of that money that's in the IRA that we've talked about previously on this show, you can convert any amount you're willing to stomach the taxes. And one of the things we do, Charlie Sheridan is my service advisor. He's my tax genius in my office. People come in, they want a tax report, they want to start tax harvesting. They go to Charlie because Charlie can run a software to tell them, if you take this and you convert more, it could impact your Medicare Part B and Part D. So don't do this by yourself. You need to make sure you're doing this the right way. It could impact what you're paying on capital gains tax. So it could impact other things. So you can't contribute, but you can convert any amount you're willing to pay the tax. There's one more big thing. People say, well, you can't touch that money for 5 years. Again, that's wrong. You cannot touch, and it's a little bit of a technical thing here, but any money, like if I put $100,000 into a Roth IRA,
Right.
I can access that money if I'm over 59 and a half without any kind of penalty.
The money that you put in.
The money that I've put in. But the growth within that Roth IRA, I can't touch that until that has been established for at least 5 years. I'm telling you, you need to establish a Roth, even if you put $2 or $3 in it, and you just establish that date, and that starts the clock ticking. Even if you move it to another Roth, you have that 5-year period where you can be there. Now, if you're younger, I've got to say this in the last 30 seconds or so. If you're younger, the Secure Act 2.0 has come along last year, and they're now saying that we're going to put more Roth 401ks available to people. If you're 20, 30, 40, and you want to get ahead of this tax game and not have to worry about all this harvesting, put your money, swallow the taxes now, pay the taxes now if you can, and put that money into a Roth 401k, and the never works there too. Never again will you pay tax on the growth. Never again will you pay tax in your lifetime. Those of you who are married, never in your spouse's lifetime. I love the word never versus the word forever, okay?
Right. Yep.
I wouldn't, when you're younger and you're making a significant income, I wouldn't necessarily start doing a lot of Roth conversions. There's some rules. You got to pay the tax from some other account. You can't pay the tax from the transition. So that's a technical thing. We can talk about it when you come in to keep you on the right track and not get you penalized. But if you're younger, start that Roth 401k and start contributing to that side, or start a Roth IRA. It gets you ahead of the game.
Absolutely. So much to know. And I'm so grateful that you and the team of Mosley Wealth Management are committed to having these kinds of important conversations, because to our point earlier, a lot of firms out there aren't. But this is so critical. It can really be a game changer for you in your retirement. So Tom, thank you so much. Always a joy to be with you.
Good to be here.
Well, and to our viewers at home, we appreciate you watching. Again, if you want to get your very own complimentary retirement blueprint and tax analysis, just call that number on the bottom of your screen, 866-709-1462. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and we look forward to being back with you next week.